What's up, guys? I am finally back to bring you my first recap back home in New Jersey, my God. I know you guys have been patiently waiting for my recaps because everything is delayed, but hopefully is not denied, my God. And I know that the Married to Medicine reunion part 3 aired last week and it's done and over with, but because of the significant topics, things especially that I like to address in reference to marriage, marital problems, relationship issues, I wanted to sound off and bring you guys this recap, not only to close out the season, but to give my perspective and opinions and thoughts and critiques on season 6, episode 18, part 3 of the reunion, my God. And of course, it started off with Dr. Greg and Quad meeting up and having their first meet since, I believe, their separation. They said it was June. I'm not sure when the reunion was filmed, but of course it probably was filmed in the fall, my God. But it was interesting that Dr. Greg did say he wanted to show up because he knew that Quad would have her opportunity to defend her version and what she felt happened in the demise of her marriage or their marriage. And one thing I will say, I do respect Dr. G for showing up, because when you don't show up, your voice cannot be heard. So regardless if we respect his opinion, believe his opinion, or understand his version, him showing up, at least to speak up for himself, was a very important thing for him to do, my God. But the details that were exposed, I wasn't surprised that there was abuse or physical altercations between Dr. Greg and Quad, because I know earlier on in previous seasons, they had shared that I think Dr. Greg was locked up. I think Quad got arrested at one point, so if I'm not mistaken, and it was in reference to them fighting each other, my God. So there was no real bomb that was dropped there. I know Quad was sharing it, making it seem like it was something that was so horrible for her, which it probably was, but I really can't give a critique or an opinion on who I feel is right or wrong, because a woman has no business hitting a man, just as a man has no business putting his hands on a woman. So I really can't say who was right or wrong, because we don't know who made the first hit, who instigated the fight, who picked up the knife first. I know Quad said that she had a knife. Well, Dr. Greg said Quad had a knife, and he threw her to the ground, my God, and it was just so much that was exposed. And even Dr. Contessa said, I would have never co-signed or tried to get them back together or wished them back together had I known that there was domestic abuse or domestic violence. And that's from both sides. I agree. Once something becomes physical, it is no going back. It's no repairing that. That is too much toxicity to even bring those two back together. I feel like you start over with somebody else, even if you decide to make a change and you put in the work, my God, to make a change, to not be physical. That's just too far. Some things are just too far, my God. It was also exposed that they have not had sex since the reunion of 2014, my God. This is 2018. I think this was filmed in 2019. Happy New Year. 2019, this was filmed in 2018. So that's about 4 years of not having sex with your spouse. And my thing is, this is such an iffy space to be in, because I don't want to condone a cheater, because y'all know I am Team Quad in this and not really feeling Dr. Greg. But I have to understand at least his perspective and feelings, especially when, one, he did want a family, he does want children, regardless of how I agree with the reasons why Quad may not have wanted children. He did want those things. And also when it comes to not giving your man no sex for 4 years, my God, what do you expect? He is going to cheat. Now, what I will say is, Dr. Greg said he hasn't cheated, but when they attempted to have sex after that reunion in 2014, Quad said she ran downstairs, was crying, was hysterical, couldn't believe this was her life, and Dr. Greg could not get an erection. And so Quad said she knew that he was cheating then because she's sexy, she's beautiful, and she is his wife, so why could you or would you not be able to get an erection? And I kind of agree with that, because if your wife has been holding the coochie off from you for a while and you are attracted to her and she gives it up, why can you not get an erection? Now, the conflict in that is, That doesn't really apply here when it comes to not getting an erection, because your husband not getting an erection has nothing to do with him cheating. Plenty of men cheat and then go back on home and screw their wife the same night or the next day, my God. But it was interesting that Dr. Greg said that he could not get an erection due to working 3 jobs and stress and being busy. But I'm thinking, bruh, you ain't had no coochie in a while. So if you hadn't had coochie in a while, you should be able to get an erection, because you would be extremely excited to finally get back in your wife's coochie. But like I said, I have no solid opinion on that, because there are so many different ways to go to address that, simply because, you know, you never know why a person does what they do and what they're feeling and what's triggering their behavior, even if it's bad behavior or good behavior. So I'm going to stay unbiased in this. I'm not going to defend, nor can I defend Quad 100%, because they both expose. No one disagreed about the physical abuse, and it was interesting seeing Andy's reactions to hearing all of that, and it was getting very nasty. And I will say, I want to commend Dr. Greg for at least showing up very positively initially, because the first thing he said when they sat down and saw each other was, she looks great, she looks beautiful, she looks like she's doing well, in reference to Quad. So I commend him for trying to create a positive opening, my God. But it's so hard for me to give critiques on a person's marriage, because I know what my past relationships and marriage looked like publicly versus what was really going on behind closed doors. So I can't really critique any of them too harshly, other than the fact that Dr. Greg was the one who cheated, or at least it seems like he cheated due to being in the hotel room with the other woman. But even then, maybe he didn't. But I'm just thinking, I'm sorry, I'm gonna be honest. If we ain't fucking and we're married or even in a relationship and 2 weeks has passed, I'm sleeping with somebody else. But the difference between cheating and not cheating for me is, I wouldn't call it cheating, because if I sleep with somebody else, I'm going to tell your ass. You're going to know. I want you to know. I want you to know the lack of you giving me some dick and ass, my God, is why I'm going to go out and find it from somebody else. I'm not going to sneak and do it. I'm going to make sure that you're fully aware that you withholding or not initiating or not showing me love or making me feel desired, I'm gonna go out and get it. I'm gonna let you know. So I'm not sure if you classify that as cheating as well, if you're being upfront and sharing, you know, this is what I'm gonna do, my God. And so if Dr. Greg did move on his feelings and sleep with somebody else and Quad didn't know, or it was secrets, that's cheating to me. So he still is dead ass wrong when it comes to that. Now, just to close up that whole segment, which was very emotional and sad to watch, I feel like this sit down between Andy, Quad, and Dr. Greg was very important. It was important for the public who have criticized and dogged Quad, especially with claiming that she didn't love Dr. Greg. She married him for his money. She married him for an opportunity on this show, when you can clearly see that Quad is hurt and loved this man. I'm not sure how you guys out there feel. I know some of the church members feel like that Quad used him, but my thing is, she's exuding too much hurt and pain, and even said at one point when this ended, when Andy had to coach her to go on ahead and say what she wanted to say when she was getting emotional, and she said he doesn't even deserve this, and Andy said, I think you want to say that you still love him. Well, how y'all saying she ain't love him and she used him and just wanted him for his money, if the behaviors and emotions that she exhibiting, it stems from someone being in love and hurt and sad that their marriage has failed, my God. So I think that this definitely proved all those people wrong who thought she was using him, because I really feel like in that moment where Quad broke down and said he doesn't deserve it, he doesn't deserve what she needed to say to him, I believe she wanted to say something to the effect of not just that she loves him, but that she would have wanted her marriage to work, and she still wants it to work, my God. But sometimes some things just go too far even for you, to where even though you may feel a certain thing, why would you put yourself back in a toxic situation? Sometimes too far is just too far, even if you desire love and want to be with that person, my God. But they did hug it out. I will say I commend Dr. G for apologizing for the hurt that he caused Quad, and Quad apologized as well. That whole hug moment, it seemed like there was some hope, but hope maybe for a friendship, not a relationship. But I will say, that when Dr. Greg said that he loved Quad, I just think that they both have realized that they've gone too far, and it just doesn't work. And loving someone is sometimes it's just not enough, my God. But I will say that it was sad to see this in this way, especially when you can see that the love between the two of them, especially as it pertains to wanting them to be okay, be happy, and do well, it's there, it really is there. Once all the ladies came back with the husbands, and of course Quad was still trying to get herself together because she didn't have a husband to come back to the set with, my God. It was interesting to see Dr. Contessa speak up against the domestic abuse, and then even Dr. Heavenly saying, you know, it's not cool, and then that he hit her, and then for Toya to say, oh, no, don't use the word hit. He never said he hit her. Mariah said no, he didn't say he hit her neither. He never denied slamming her to the ground. He never denied any of the allegations that Quad shared, even from her end. And even Andy said they both clearly said there was domestic abuse from both sides. So I'm not sure why this whole play on words bothered Mariah and Toya. And I love Dr. Heavenly for calling them out and saying, y'all will just defend any and everything, my God, especially when you're against someone or against a person, because it made no sense for them to speak up and say he didn't hit her. So is pushing her to the ground, not hitting her? Like, domestic abuse is domestic abuse. I don't care if you pushed me, punched me, smacked me, choked me. He put his hands on her, and she probably put his hands on him, my God. So the semantics of it, this just shows how much of an asshole and immature Toya and Mariah are, my God, because if it was your ass in this situation, you would not be playing semantics up. He didn't hit me, he just pushed me, he shoved me, he choked me. Like, girls, bye. Then Quad did apologize to everyone. She came back to the set and she was very open and emotional. That's what I'm saying. How can y'all critique her so harshly to act like she ain't loved this man and she has not experienced some real life valid hurt? This ain't no stage scripted shit. This is real life hurt, and this is why I connect, and what Quad is going through and has gone through resonates with me, because it is so easy for the public to attack the bitch that is loud publicly versus the sweet teddy bear whom you feel like ain't did shit. When the reality of it is the quiet ones are the ones who are doing the most behind the scenes because they're not even showing you who they really are, my God. So I do respect that Quad apologized to the ladies and said she was wrong for trying to shut them out, but she was just going through, and she also learned this season that it's okay to be vulnerable and to show that you're hurting and to share what you're going through. So I respect her totally for that. Then there was a question to Dr. Jackie from, I think, an audience member or a viewer in reference to her still having hurt towards Curtis, or still exuding hurt, because they brought up when she was in her office and she mentioned that if he gives a when she asks a question about his whereabouts, it makes her feel like that he is lying. And that's one thing that I say always. I wish them well, hope it works out. But once trust is broken, I know it's bad to never, I know it's bad to say never. I was gonna say never. It is, the saying is never say never, but I know it's bad to say never, but I feel like once trust is broken, there is no going back. You will never regain full trust, because that person is going to always wonder if what you're saying is the truth, because in the past, they believed you and thought what you were saying was the truth and your ass was lying and cheating. So I totally understand where Dr. Jackie is coming from, that even though things are better and Curtis feels like things are better and they're in a great space, that she still doesn't trust him, because, I mean, it was still you, the one who lied before. That's still a part of you. It doesn't just disappear, my God. So I know how she feels, and this is one thing that I felt like in my past relationships that I failed to listen to. I failed to listen to my gut feeling, and I knew that once the trust was broken, I would never be able to trust that person again, but yet I allowed the relationships to linger just for the sake of not wanting it to fail. The reality of it is, for me, I know that once trust is broken, I can never trust you again. I just can't. Now, I don't know how we got back to Toya versus Dr. Contessa, because I felt like we addressed that, or they addressed that in the first part of the reunion, hour one, my God. But Quad did clarify her speaking up and defending Toya. And Toya also said that even though she and Quad are not on the page that they were initially with their friendship and sistership, she appreciates her sticking up for her when she needs her, because she did check Dr. Contessa for saying she was dead ass wrong for thinking that Quad would push her breast or hit her intentionally. But I love how well-rounded Quad is, which is why it makes her a great TV show host, my God. She even said that although I spoke up and I said that Contessa was wrong for thinking that Toya would do this, I understand, given the climate and what they were going through, why you may wonder and question if she would do this to you intentionally, because she was already being rude to her to begin with. And of course we saw clips of Toya being shady towards Dr. Contessa, and I have to acknowledge Toya was right. I called Toya's ass out because she's immature, but Toya was spot on. She did apologize to Dr. Contessa at least 3, maybe even 4 times once she realized that she hit her in the breast, my God. That whole moment where Dr. Heavenly gave the phone to Toya at Dr. Eugene's medical birthday party and it being on speaker. I'm not sure why Toya called Dr. Heavenly messy, because Toya had been being messy concerning Dr. Contessa publicly before the phone call had been made, which is why the phone call was made. And Dr. Heavenly said she didn't call Dr. Contessa. I thought Dr. Scott did, but I'm not sure. I think Dr. Heavenly told Dr. Scott to get his wife on the phone, or maybe you should call her. I don't remember, you guys. But the reality of it is, no, Toya, your ass is a messy one, because you could have still had that conversation, my God, privately or on speaker. And even if you were going to have it on speaker, you were still messy because the things you were saying were so disrespectful to someone who was going through a situation with their father's health, my God. So I don't care who they thought was messy, Toya was still dead ass wrong for that moment anyway. Last but not least, I do want to say that it's interesting how everyone always looks to Dr. Jackie for the words of wisdom, for reconciliation, for something positive to say, because it seemed like every little segment or things that were discussed, it was like, okay, something's wrong, everybody's going crazy. So Dr. Jackie, how do we make this better? That was so awesome to see. And they did share that Dr. Jackie's delivery is phenomenal compared to anyone else. So she has this gentle voice. Even if she's checking you or encouraging you, her delivery is always right, which is why people always go to her for reconciliation or something positive to say. But that's about it, guys. I know that they all shared what they learned this season. Toya is always being shady, trying to single out Dr. Contessa. I do wish that Dr. Contessa wouldn't feed into it, because Dr. Contessa gave her little speech about what she learned. Nobody spoke up. So for her to speak up while Toya was sharing what she learned, even though she was being shady, Dr. Contessa was dead ass wrong as well, because she was whispering things underneath her breath and interrupting Toya. But that's all it, guys. I'm not going to share what they shared, because you watched the show, and if you didn't, you can watch it and see what they shared and what they learned. But I will say the most significant thing was probably Quad's for sharing that it's, you know, it's okay to be vulnerable and open up and share. I think that Dr. Simone, who gets on my nerves, said something positive as well. But that's about it, guys. Thank you for tuning in to this recap. I'm so excited. We're back on track. I'm going to tackle these recaps. Please let me know, do you guys want me to go back on certain shows and do each episode, or just start where we are? Because I am like about 6 episodes behind on Love and Hip Hop New York. I am about 3 episodes behind on Black Ink Crew Chicago, which I love. I'm also behind, I just realized that, what's it called? Growing Up Hip Hop, my God, they just started, and I want to jump on board with them. And then RuPaul's Drag Race, we're about 5 episodes behind. I want to start with them. So church, comment down below, let me know with the shows that I want to tackle. Do you feel like you want me to give my critiques and opinions on the entire season, like episode by episode, or just start exactly where the shows are currently? So let me know in the comment section. Please thumbs up this video, follow me on all social media outlets, share this video. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notifications, become a part of the notification ministry, and share this video. Thank you guys for tuning in. Bye, guys.